For the Chinese, the habit of having breakfast developed during the Han Dynasty some 2,000 years ago. Since then, most Chinese have eaten 3 meals a day. While breakfast has become an almost universal custom around the world, in China it has sparked a variety of lifestyles and philosophies. For city dwellers, breakfast has to be quick and easy. Tianjin people know this best of all. They have a thin wrap of mung bean batter with eggs to make it more nutritious. Deep fried until it's golden brown. Dough fritters in mung bean wrap, crisp on the outside and tender on the inside. They're quick and easy. In a Chinese breakfast, flavor is important. Jin Yun knows the secret to a tasty breakfast.
Number 32, 40, 47. Chongqing people are mad about small noodles. It's the only way to start the day. Can I have less red chili, more flour pepper, and an egg?
Coming up.
In Chongqing, the locals really only wake up after a bowl of tasty small noodles in soup. Alkaline salts are the key in making the dough. They cause the gluten in the flour to form a dense network that locks in the starch particles. That way, the soup stays clear and the noodles develop a firm texture. Alkaline noodles are found in all the main cities of the Yangtze River Basin. In Suzhou, noodles are served with a clear, tasty soup. Suzhou noodles are thin. They go well with the soup. Braised pork noodles feature noodles in a smooth soup with a slice of delicious braised pork. In Wuhan, breakfast is simply called early. It tends to be salty. Savory donuts and tofu wraps are popular. But the #1 favorite is alkaline dry noodles. They are boiled, mixed with sesame oil and dried. The sesame paste must be properly blended so it adheres evenly to the noodles. Doing this requires a strong wrist and considerable patience. Jin Yun owns a noodle shop. He has trained over 200 apprentices.
It's not spicy enough. It needs more salt.
You need to put your heart into it. Sprinkling some spices on it or doing some token job isn't going to cut it. You need to know the condiments inside out.
What makes small noodles unique is their 12 condiments. Chilies, Sichuan pepper oil, soy sauce, they are all mixed by hand. The chef must balance all 12.
Give it a good stir.
Like many others in Chongqing, Jin's Noodle Restaurant is only open for breakfast and lunch.
Nice and easy.
The 3 critical elements in this cuisine are aroma, chili heat, and pleasing colors. After small noodles, Jin's signature dish is beef noodles. but he limits his output of beef noodles to only 10 kilos worth of beef a day. This shrewd marketing strategy guarantees him a long queue of hungry customers.
How is it?
It's spot on in every way.
Yes, it's actually very good. You can keep it up and do this every time. Then you're ready to graduate. Who's next?
I am.
The small in small noodles reflects their low price and their unassuming place in the gamut of Chinese cuisine. But in Chongqing, Jin's breakfast restaurant is famous. Not all breakfasts aim to be quick and easy. In Guangzhou, it's the experience that people savor. 7 a.m. Customers are queuing up in front of a restaurant in the old part of town. Dim sum chefs have already been busy for 3 hours. The chefs make each dim sum item exquisitely and bring it to life. Morning tea in Guangzhou is rich and lavish. The tea is just an excuse for other, more interesting items, such as dim sum and congee. When the doors open, regulars rush for their favourite seats. The popularity of morning tea in Guangzhou is linked to its booming trade. One of the regulars is Chen Yuexia, 56, a retiree. Her 29-year-old son, Liang Jingshun, is a lawyer. His breakfast is much more hurried.
I don't normally have time for breakfast. I just grab something on the way to work. Work comes first. Work is how you survive. Without work, there's no life.
Guangdong dim sum may be wet or dry. The dry kind are more delicately made. Crystal prawn dumplings, a perfect melding of sweet prawn filling and a clear, elastic dough. The average Guangzhou morning tea lasts over an hour. Guangzhou may be a business battleground for the young, but for the elderly, it's a paradise. In 2013, 15% of the Guangzhou population, or 1.25 million people, were aged 60 or more. The city is a microcosm of China. It juggles development and tradition. The city's fast-paced lifestyle gives young people more opportunities, but less time for breakfast. After morning tea, Chen Yuexia cooks the family dinner. Soy sauce, sugar, rice wine, vinegar and water, the 5 ingredients for 5-flavoured duck. A fresh weaver fish is perfect for steaming. Watercress pork soup helps to remove any oily aftertaste. A dinner made with love awaits her son after his hard day at work. But some young people's meals are much less interesting.
Yang Yuan Yuan?
Here.
Top quality.
Top quality.
Always.
Always.
Yay.
Yay.
7:30 a.m. 160,000 young people come and go at a 3-square-kilometre factory complex. The same scene is played out 5 days a week. School leavers in their 20s make up most of the workers in the complex. For them, doing repetitive work all day, every day, is a real challenge. "21-year-old Yang Yuan Yun must complete the same task 5,000 times a day, or every 5 seconds, for 7 hours. The factory's central kitchen runs on similar industrial lines. As it turns out standardized meals, its prime concern is ensuring the food is safe to eat, followed by balanced nutrition. 2 tons of fish, 3 tons of pork, 15 tons of vegetables, and 15 tons of rice are needed every day to feed some 80,000 people. There are 20 mess halls scattered throughout the complex, with the largest of them seating 2,000 people. The workers take a 10-minute break every 2 hours. The lunch break is 1 hour. Like the workers in other Chinese factories, Yuan Yuan has to work hard to keep up the pace. Xu Lei from Hunan has worked in the complex for 11 years. He supervises 200 workers making a well-known brand of mobile phone. The core workshops are top secret, adding a sense of mystery to this large, cold complex. Xu and his wife, Wen Fei, live in one of the apartment blocks just outside the complex. For them, cured fish carries the delightful taste of home. Excess salt and impurities are removed by soaking the fish in water and then boiling it. After that, it's sautéed until golden. Chilies, garlic, ginger and black beans are added. For a time, the steamed fish transports them back to their hometown. In Xu's faraway hometown, his mother-in-law, Zhao Zhuxiang, is preparing an ancient dish, starting with soil collected in the mountains. The recipe was set down in a farmer's book some 1,400 years ago. Zhao and her granddaughter are buying duck eggs. A complex cooking transformation is about to begin. One kilo of duck eggs and 200 grams of salt. The duck eggs are fully immersed in a muddy brine solution. The sodium and chlorine molecules in the salt filter through the eggshells. In the sealed jars, the eggs lie dormant, waiting to be woken up.
Check out this new video clip.
See?
Rock. She loves playing.
We can't neglect her studies.
We both have to work, so we left her with my mother. We miss her so much. We ring her every day.
A month later, salt has filtered into the duck eggs and water has filtered out. The eggs are transformed in shape and taste. To keep these homemade delicacies fresh and protect them from breaking, Zhao coats them in hay ash. She will send them to her daughter in Guangzhou. The best part of a salted duck egg is the yolk. The fat that's separated in the curing process turns into yolk oil. The salty yolk has a uniquely fine and sandy texture.
It's so big.
The flavours of home are like a spell that transcends time and space to bring the whole family together.
My goal is to allow my family to live happily and to have no worries.
Which one is Daddy? Go on, say Daddy.
Daddy.
Give Mummy a kiss.
I started work at 16 or 17. I'm 28, so it's been 11 years. I spent my youth at Foxconn.
In this industrial empire, millions of young people toil anonymously to provide the world with an unceasing supply of globalized products. Each day is filled with energy, stamina, and 3 meals. In the Daliang Mountains, far from manufacturing, there's someone who lives a challenging life of his own.
Be careful. Electricity grid workers have to do lots of hiking.
Gu Tao has inspected the grid for 20 years and has trekked through the mountains for much of that time. His team of workers walks over 25,000 kilometers a year, 3/4 the length of the equator. Living near the power lines are the Yi ethnic minority. It's July and time to harvest potatoes. The locals call them Western yams. With large tubers and a high concentration of amylopectin and dry matter, these potatoes are tender and fluffy. Butuo County is 2,600 meters above sea level in the highlands of southern Sichuan. It's the home of the so-called dark potatoes. They're low-yielding and hard to grow, but also thin-skinned, soft-textured and rich in starch. Stir-fried potatoes is a simple, excellent dish. Traditionally, the Yi bake potatoes. The taste and fragrance are delightful. It's August, the month of the Yi's annual Torch Festival. Tender, aromatic pork chunks are made from the native black piglets of Liangshan. The grilled pork is cut into large pieces and cooked over a very hot flame. Then various condiments are added. But Gu has nothing to do with any of this.
Let's take a cigarette break. It's your first time here. Don't work on an empty stomach. Here you are. There's more here. Boo, have some more. You'll need energy.
For many people, The pace of China's development means having to forego traditional home-cooked meals. Deep in the Dabie Mountains, a large number of young people are facing an ordeal. Guo Xinya's mother, Li Shi, cooks for her daughter every day. The National Higher Education Entrance Examination is a watershed in life for millions of school leavers. With its 20,000 students, Mao Tanchang High School churns out more candidates than any other school in Anhui province. It's known as an exam factory. Its students are under immense pressure and get little time for rest. Some of the parents become full-time carers. It's spring, and Li Shi is on the lookout for a certain wild vegetable, sweet wormwood, also known as Sweet Annie. By tradition, the locals have Sweet Annie cakes on day 3 of the 3rd lunar month. The sweet wormwood may not be very abundant, but Li still observes the tradition. Once soaked, dried and chopped, the herb gives off a pleasant fragrance. To improve the taste and the nutrition level, Li adds salt pork to the ground rice.
She loves it.
The wild vegetable cakes will delight her daughter. Every mum has a culinary secret weapon. There are 90 exam rooms, each holding 100 candidates. The atmosphere is tense. The students have a 30-minute break for lunch. Xinya has Sweet Annie cakes for lunch. Her exam is less than 2 months away.
Delicious?
Yes.
Xinya and her mother live near the school. Many students aren't so fortunate. There's no student dining hall. The parents have yet another task: feeding their children at lunchtime. Every day, thousands of students flock to the gate to take delivery of their lunch.
Take your time. It's not quite enough, is it?
The parents dedicate time and energy to their children. But as the subjects become more advanced, all that many parents can do is ensure their children are well fed. The quality of their nourishment can affect their exam results or even bear directly on their future. Mao Tanchang is a riverside town of 10,000. That number triples at exam time. Yet alongside the high-pressure life of the school, there's a sleepy atmosphere that preserves an almost lost craft. Tofu mills in the old part of town still employ ancient methods to make the famous dry tofu. The 2-centimetre thick soy product is soft, smooth and elastic.
She doesn't sleep well because her study schedule doesn't give her much time for rest. What I have to do is make sure she gets nutritious meals.
Xinya is leaving tomorrow to sit the exam in another town. Her mother is meticulous in preparing the last meal before her departure. It is the delicious braised pork with dry tofu, made with soft tofu, pork belly and a mix of sauces.
Are you nervous?
A bit.
Really?
Aren't you nervous too?
In my day, studying was a luxury. Now it's a real trial.
It's not so bad.
Caring for her in the last 10 months while she's been studying has been the best and happiest time of my life.
The slippers of success are finally finished. The time mother and daughter have spent shoulder to shoulder is coming to an end.
You've come here from all over the province to pursue your dreams. Why have you walked along the winding roads and come all the way to this high school? To study, to seek enlightenment. It's time to march off.
Sometimes leading a simple life can be a lifestyle choice. In Shanghai, vegetarians look to vegetables for good health and the meaning of life. Over 50 million people in China are vegetarians by choice. To free oneself of fleshly desires was a motto of the sages of old. People are starting to regard a simple vegetarian diet as good for their health. It's even become a selling point.
May I have a receipt? Healthy food is a gentle weapon that conquers everyone.
Wang Ayahua is scouring the streets in an effort to compile a comprehensive list of gourmet foods. She is organising a community vegetarian banquet for the Mid-Autumn Festival, and she's still looking for some key ingredients. Her secret ingredient is a filling made of red bean paste, dried orange peel and sugar. In the 1960s, some 70% of Hong Kong's vegetables were supplied locally. That number is now less than 2%. But there is still farmland at Fanling. Its farmers use traditional methods, growing only seasonal vegetables with organic fertilizers. Ayahua has confidence in this type of produce despite its low yields. Snowskin mooncakes are a highlight of Ayahua's banquet. Mooncakes are found throughout China. The unorthodox snowskin mooncake was born in Hong Kong in the 1980s. Mung bean paste is wrapped in snowskin, which is made of wheat flour and ordinary and glutinous rice flour. No baking is needed. They're best served chilled.
Do you know why it's called Happy Kitchen?
In modern society, food is a mere commodity. Happy Kitchen, however, invites people to ponder on the nexus between nature, food, and food producers. In this ever-changing world, the longer one lives in the city, the more one longs for the life of the land. The rapid pace of change affects everyone. In Hong Kong, prosperous though it may be, garden patches have replaced mansions as the most fashionable luxury. On the mainland, there are other examples of people living in harmony with nature and tradition. "72-year-old Long Xiangui goes fishing in the Gulin River every day. It's his morning exercise. Gulin County is in Sichuan's southeast. The Chashui River runs through it. Chinese cities are classified into 3 tiers. Gulin is smaller even than the lowest tier, Tier 3. Gulin handmade noodles. With their chewy yet smooth texture and soup absorbency, they're a great choice for breakfast.
Noodles, please.
Sure.
Stewed mushy peas made from ripened peas. The peas give the noodles a hint of sweetness.
It's a small city with plenty of fresh produce from nearby farms. It's very accessible. Farmers can bring in fresh produce for sale on the back of their motorbikes.
In this riverside city, life is self-sufficient and sustainable, just as it was before industrialization. Most food is grown locally. Long has chosen a 3-year-old rooster. He punctures its skin to ensure the meat doesn't burst out. The marinade, prepared with over 30 spices, can be used over and over for cooking chicken. The rich soup is mixed with chili oil to give Gulin spicy chicken its remarkable taste. Gulin spicy chicken is Long Mei Chi's favorite. Her great-grandfather wants to give her a surprise.
Hello? Does this work?
Grandpa,
I've been looking everywhere for you. You've been a bad girl. Stop crying.
Did you get some lollies?
yes.
Well, you shouldn't be crying then.
I bought the lollies myself.
Can you stop being upset with Grandpa? Are you okay now?
Yes.
It's really lovely for 4 generations to live under the same roof.
Yellowhead catfish, also known as Korean bullhead, is found in China. Long caught some yellowhead catfish this morning. Throughout China, there are many ways of cooking this fish. Gulin people usually cook it with pickles and capsicums to remove the fishy smell and bring out the aroma.
It's done now.
Hot and spicy chicken is stewed for an hour. Immersed in chili oil, the meat is hot, tender, and aromatic. For decades, the Long family have gathered almost every weekend for a family banquet.
Let's drink to your good health.
To good health.
Cheers!
I like living in a small city. I can't get used to big cities. Here, the air is good and the environment is clean.
A pleasant environment, the low cost of living, and a simple lifestyle. These are what make small cities like Gulin so special. Once the normal way of life in China, it's now become rare and sought after. There are some who choose to escape a stressful big city life to discover the joys of simplicity.
Let's go.
Dali, a place familiar to Xi Xiuxia and Wang Chung of Beijing. Their previous visits were only brief. Erhai Gate in Dali is 3,000 kilometers from Beijing. Here you experience true harmony with nature. Their acquaintance with their neighbor, Mrs. Li, is the kind of relationship that's rare these days.
It's rapeseed oil.
Erhai's Crucian carp are nice and fresh.
Medium to medium well done.
Mrs. Li is an excellent cook. Xu Xia is eager to learn from her.
Sichuan chili.
White papaya, known locally as sour papaya, is the signature flavor of this dish.
But not the seeds.
The sourness and fruity fragrance of the white papaya and the chilies bring out the full flavor of the fish. The fish is tender and the soup is spicy hot.
A bit sour.
Lake Erhai, the 7th largest freshwater lake in China. It has a rich variety of aquatic life, and the Baifo people have fished its waters for generations. The average height of the Kang Mountains is 3,500 meters above sea level. The blue stainer mushroom harvest coincides with the July monsoon. They're picked in the morning and sold in the market right away. The locals call them the morning batch. Blue stainer is the common name for Boletus luridus. The cap turns blue when cut, a sign of toxicity. Blue stainers can easily poison the unwary. But heat detoxifies them. The mushrooms are cooked in oil before being stir-fried over a high heat to ensure they are thoroughly cooked.
I haven't tasted yet.
Despite their mild toxicity, people continue to be fascinated by the crunchy texture and incredible taste of fresh blue stainers.
It's so delicious
Yes, it is.
and refreshing. It's prickly.
Yes.
A quiet life in the country with fresh air, good neighbours and natural foods. After spending some time in Dali, Xu Sha and her husband made a life-changing decision. They quit their jobs and moved to Dali. A simple life isn't necessarily a hard life. To me, what others regard as unambitious is in fact priceless living. So Xu Sha confides to her diary. It's the 5th of June. 140 busloads of exam candidates, over 10,000 of them, are leaving Mao Tanchang High School. For Li Shi, caring for her daughter while she studied for the exam brought them closer. The older the child grows, the further away she'll be. For Liang Jingshun, leaving for work every morning is like going on a long march. He doesn't rest till he comes home in the evening to a bowl of soup warmed with love from the family. After a day's hard work, Yuan Yuan is going out to have a good time. Despite the challenges of her job, she still enjoys her youth. The Daliang Mountains Torch Festival is reaching its climax. Gu Tao takes a break from inspecting the grid to enjoy a meal. It's human nature to want to enjoy good food. But everyone has different and sometimes opposing ideas about good food. We all make our own choices about what we eat. Today, the Chinese are seeing an amazing abundance of food, as well as extreme shortages of resources. If they turn to their ancestral wisdom for answers, they may find this advice. Big a mansion may be, but a bed is all one needs to sleep at night. Rich a man may be, but 3 meals a day are all one needs to live. In their search for gourmet foods, the production crews for A Bite of China found themselves facing all sorts of challenges under extreme conditions. The next episode takes you behind the scenes.